Good morning, family. Happy Sabbath, happy Saturday to you guys. I hope you all rested well. I just wanted to pop on here this morning and share some words of encouragement, check in with you guys. I hope you had last month, as we ended last month, May. I hope you guys had a very wonderful, a very productive month. I did. I did. When I got home, I saw some sadness, though. There was an intruder on my property. I think it was a fox, because this morning I woke up, I saw the fox. I got a security notification. I saw a fox walking on the side of my yard. And actually, two of my chickens, one of my chickens, the one that always jumps the fence and flies, my other white laying leghorn, saw feathers all on one side. So there was a struggle that must have been put up. I don't know whether a chicken hawk got her or what. And then my precious baby, my golden Americana, they call them Easter egg, or she lays the green eggs for me. I saw her under one of the coops. She was just laying on the ground. I don't know if something startled her or what. I looked over. I didn't see any bruises, but sometimes if a chicken hawk tries to grab them and they can't get them, they can break their neck. That happened to one of my chickens a while ago, and they flop all around. So I wasn't here for any of that while we were out working. All right. And so we came home to that, but there is a time to be here, and then there's a time to go back. And I thank God for giving me, allowing me to be a steward over them. I think I've been a great chicken mom. So I gotta bury them. I gotta put her. It was dark last night when we got home, so I just put the body in my garden area that I got bricked in back there in the back. And so that's where I normally just dig a hole and just bury them down in there. But nevertheless, anyway, I just wanted to say this, people of God, to encourage you, my younger brothers and sisters, and even those of you that are my big brothers and sisters. I don't know what all I'm going to say, but I just felt led to just encourage. And what I want to say is, we can do anything we put our minds to, as long as God is backing us. And this morning when I woke up, I was reflecting on so many different things, all the chaos in the world, all the envy and jealousy that's plaguing the minds of many of our brothers and sisters. It really makes me sad. I've learned how to maneuver around it. I've learned how to, stay in my lane and attend to the things that God has given me. Oh, it sounded like that was rain. I've learned how to maneuver and stay in my lane and attend to the things that God has given me. And I was looking back over my little young life. This month will be my birthday. We are 12 days away from my birthday. My birth date is June 13th. And I was just laying in bed, just reflecting on so many different things. And I said, thank you, Father. Many of the desires of my heart growing up from high school, sometimes you don't really know which direction you're going to take, and prior to me going to college, I used to say, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to, go into the military. Oh, I'm going to, you just didn't know. I am my grandmother's oldest grandchild on my grandmother's side. So I didn't meet many of my aunts and uncles and that I showed you guys, many of the elders in my family. I didn't meet them, like grow up knowing them. My mother kept searching. She never met her father. So when she was born, her father had died. She never knew him. So over the years, she always wanted to know, do I have people out there? Do I have family out there? We always felt alone. And so she kept searching over the years. And as I grew up, eventually she found, I think, a cousin or something, and it led her to an aunt or uncle. Or no, I think she found her stepmother. One of the ladies, I think, was married to her father, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember we used to visit her regularly. She was in her late age, and we would regularly visit her. She accepted me as her granddaughter, and I think that's how my mother got connected. Right. And so growing up, in high school, and after high school, I really didn't, I just felt like this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to do. I know that I had a love for the elderly, and I always had a love for children, and so I took nursing, and back then I think they still offer the courses. You were afforded the opportunity to go over to some of the technical schools, and you could take courses that could get you a certificate. And so I would take nursing courses, and after that I got my certificate, and I got a job as a nursing assistant. And I was telling an older cousin, I said, I'm going to be a nursing assistant. I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be a teacher. And my older cousin, he was like, that's too much. You can't do all of those things because it's too demanding. And each field is very demanding. And you don't want to be a nursing assistant. You want to go and be a nurse. And I said, yeah, well, I think an assistant is fine, because I was already working on a job as a nursing assistant that I was fortunate to get. It was at a very prestige facility during the summers, right? I've always worked. Ever since I was 13 years old, I've always worked, and I ended up doing all three of those things, because when I went to college for teaching, that was also very demanding, and then it was at the end of my college that I decided that, you know what, I don't want to be trapped in the classroom. I wanted to be out. I like being out. I like and then dealing with some of the issues that were aroused, like even during my student teaching. I got cursed out by a parent who was upset because I called her on a job. Her son was misbehaving. I never forget that. And that lady was so mad that I called her on the job. She said, he's your effing problem now. Don't ever call me on my job. She hung the phone up, and I was shocked, And so I went through a bit of, I don't know if I would call it, I don't know, depression maybe. It was just overwhelming for me. And then you had, at that time we had President Bush, and they were making all these laws for teachers, and the No Child Left Behind Act. It put so many demands on teachers that were already in the classroom, teachers that were upcoming, and it was just a lot of requirements. But nevertheless, I was overwhelmed, and I decided, as I began experiencing what the requirements were, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to be trapped in the classroom, and so I ended up becoming a police officer at the end of my towards the end of my college tenure. And then I ended up I stayed on the police force for several years. I did not teach. I ended up not teaching. I got my degree. I did graduate and get my degree. But I did not want to teach, And so I got to experience, and I think that's the power of words too, right? Because out of the mouth comes life or death, blessings or curses. So we can speak things into existence, and it's not about this law of attraction. It's about biblical. It's about what the Bible says. A lot of things were taken out of the Bible, but the Bible does say that out of the mouth comes life or death. And so I do believe in the power of the tongue. But nevertheless, going back to, we can do anything we put our minds to. Everything that I said that I wanted to do, and my older cousin, he was like, you can't do all that. I actually did all that. I actually did all of that. And it wasn't that the nursing assistant was paying much money, because I kept my license up. I actually forgot to renew it a few years ago, and it expired. And I'm like, I'm not renewing it. But I would do that. Even as working as a police officer for many years, I still would go to the nursing homes and I would fill in. I worked with the disability boards. And it wasn't because of the pay, because the pay was, but it was because it was in my heart. I connected with many of those people. I prayed with many of those people who were having mental health issues. There were times I would question God about certain things, and I wanted to understand. It was all a growing process for me. There's a lot that I just wanted to understand. But nevertheless, everywhere I was, every job that I worked on, God always found a way to use me. I've always been very impactful, even in the nursing homes. I've had the daughters and family members of many of the patients that would call me. Sometimes they would buy me gifts, and they would just tell me, when you go off to college, because I was working at the nursing home prior to going to college as well. And so they would say, oh, if you need anything while you're in college, just always call us, you know. And so prior to starting my business, I did about maybe almost 10 years, in law enforcement. And then I realized I wanted to be a business owner. And every desire that came to my spirit that was aligned with the will of God, there were ideas that always would come to me. And so when the desire of being a business owner came to me, it was one day while I was on patrol working, and I was talking with my supervisor. He was like a father to me, man of God, very strong man of God. He had to endure a lot, but he was very protective of his flock. He had his own mind. He knew how to think for himself. And so sometimes when you have your own mind and you don't follow with all the politics and stuff, you treat people fairly. People like working for you, but at the same time, you deal with a lot of headache from above, But he and I would always talk about, the Bible and businesses and stuff. And he was always very encouraging. So when I decided I wanted to be a business owner, I prayed about it. And then a business name came to me. And this was before I had a business, before I knew how to start the business, before I knew anything. I got the business name. And I told him, I said, Pops, I said, I got the business name. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, what is it? And I told him. He said, I be dog. He said, well, the Lord gonna lead you through it. He said, go and follow your spirit, and you can teach your old man something. He said, maybe I'll jump into that same business, because that sounds like a way where when I retire, I can just transition and relax myself. And so all these ideas would come to me, and I would start doing research and things like that. And then I would try to talk to some people. And I had a uncle or somebody that was also similar. And he's like, oh, you can't do that. Ain't no woman should be doing all this and doing all that, And so when I hear people say that, and sometimes people don't really mean any harm. It could be people that love you, but they see limitations, and sometimes it can even be people that not really love you. It could just be sometimes somebody can observe you, and they just think that, oh, you should be doing this, or you wait, they can start just sizing you up and thinking that they know you. Like I had one person who this one guy that I ended up observing something that he said a while back. He's he esteems himself. He's very arrogant, and he teaches courses, and he was saying that people shouldn't listen to anybody else. They should listen to those who qualify. But when I looked into his background, he doesn't have any qualifications that makes him teacher. It's just something that he came up with off the top of his brain, which could be phenomenal. But he was trying to say that to take a dagger, to take a, to throw a stone at me. And he didn't know anything about my background. If I wanted to teach, I am qualified. I'm qualified to put lesson plans together. I have a degree that backs me. But I just ignored him, and so sometimes people can mean you well, and sometimes they can do things to try to limit you or put a cap on you, or try to say that you shouldn't be thinking what you're thinking because you're not qualified, and then there are times when, like I said, some people just feel like that's too much on you. You shouldn't be doing that. Or some people feel like a woman can't do that. And so I just want to tell you, you could do anything you put your mind to, women and men. Anything that you put your mind to that aligns with the will of God, that doesn't pull you away from God, where you can be of a service, God will bless that thing if you give it to him. And so when I had someone tell me, no, you shouldn't do that, a woman can't be doing all of that, I prayed about it, and God gave me, like I said, he gave me the business idea. And so I started writing stuff down, and I would write stuff down. And this was, that idea, that business name came to me about 6 years prior to me starting my business. And on that 7th year, wow, I'm just thinking about it. 7 is the number of completion. And so the 7th year, that's when that same business name became active, when I got an LLC, and God, and for me to learn the business, God put somebody on my path. There was this guy I met, and we didn't know each other from Adam, but we met one night while I was on patrol, and he just began talking, talking. And I was listening. And we ended up becoming friends. And he taught me everything I needed to know about that same business idea that I had 6 years ago. And on the 7th year, I started that business. He told me all of his mistakes. I mean, he didn't try to come on to me. This wasn't a thing of, I like you, let me date you. There was no lust there. He was just a funny guy. He was very busy, and he had multiple businesses. And he was straight from the streets. He was like, he kept it real with me. He told me about his background, the things he used to do, how he used to hustle, make his money. Then he got into, flipping houses and got into this detail and got into this. He's very skillful. And I was like, wow, that's what's up. And he's like, yeah, so I'm trying to teach these young guys. They don't have to be on the streets, making these illegal hustles. They could take that energy and put it into legal hustles. And he told me everything about how he started his business, and I listened and I took notes. I would have my notepad. Sometimes we'd be talking on the phone and I'd be listening to him, and then sometimes even the businesses that he were already running, ideas would come to my mind, because I've never been into, there's certain things that I haven't put my hands to yet, but I'm feeling this pull on my spirit with the new people that I've been meeting lately. I kind of feel the direction that God is taking me in. And so I also have some elders that are more experienced in some of those businesses and stuff like that, where I can also ask different opinions, because when it comes to a certain business, different people go at different things like some people attack things at different angles because that's what their goal is. And what I mean by that is, to make it more plain, for example, when it comes to real estate, I was talking with some young guys, and they said they're into real estate, right? I met them the other day, and they said, we just flip houses. One guy, he got out of prison after some years, and he said, we just, we flip. And so I was like, okay, so what's your plan? I just listened to him, and he was like, well, we just, we buy a house, and every 5 years we refinance and we get that money. And I was listening to him. I was like, okay, and then what happens after that? And he was like, oh, we take some of that money, we go get another one. Then every 5 years we just keep doing the same thing. And I was listening to him, and I didn't hear an exit plan. I didn't hear a goal. So I was like, I was like, so what do you do? He's like, well, we just we get money. And I mean, you can get millions of dollars like that. There's nothing illegal, but I wanted to know what was the end result. And because for me, it sounded like just, constantly refinancing. You're just building a higher mortgage. And of course you're getting the, millions of dollars off of that. But you're relying on a tenant to not tear up the property. You're never owning the property. You're not doing it for ownership. And that's their angle. That's a way that a lot of people make quick money. But then there are some people who are older and they want to own stuff. They want to have things to leave to their children and their children's children. They don't want to leave their children property that has high debt, and just tell their children to keep doing the same things. Because in my mind, what I would think is at some point you're going to run out of the ability for the banks to constantly refinance you. That's just my perspective. And so I was talking to an elder about that to see what his opinion was, and he's kind of shared some light. So what I'm saying is, different people have different angles. Like what may work for you or what may work for somebody else, that may not settle in your spirit. But it doesn't mean that you can't listen and learn from their angle, even though you may not agree with it, and you can share, and the Spirit of God will lead you. Whatever you put your hands to, sometimes your spirit will lead you. That's God leading you, because he wants you to prosper and be successful. You just have to believe in yourself and walk by faith. And even my friend that taught me my business before I started, even him, he was giving me game. As I was observing him and I got to know more and more, we became really good friends. I would give him advice and he would take my advice, even though I've never done some of the different businesses that he'd done. But I saw some errors in some ways in his heart. He had a good heart. He wanted to help everybody. I kind of saw myself in him a lot, and he just moved so fast. Like, oh, I got to do this. And he'll put people on over here. I got to go pressure to wash this house. I got to go tint some windows. I got to go fix on this, and he would make all his repairs himself. So he's very, very skillful. And that's another thing that just made me admire him so much, But I saw some things that he could tweak a little bit. And sometimes he would take my advice. Sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he didn't want me. Oh, no, I ain't worried about that. And then when he wouldn't take the advice and something happened, sometimes I felt like he would get upset with me. I didn't understand why. And I talked to another brother about it. He was like, because, sometimes, man, we feel like y'all jinx us. I was like, how do you feel like somebody jinx you? The Bible says warning comes before destruction. He was like, that's just how a man works sometimes, baby. They don't realize that's just wisdom coming from me. He said, I'm just helping you understand that little, how he acting with you or whatever. Because sometimes he would act upset with me when certain things would go haywire after I had gave him advice and he went the other route. And I just think that that's sometimes divine connection, divine purpose partners. When God puts somebody on your path, they're not asking you for nothing. They're not trying to sleep with you. They don't need you for anything. And you're just helping them, pouring into them. And then they reciprocate that back, and they're there to talk to you when you get frustrated. Like sometimes he would get frustrated and he just needed somebody to talk to, and he could call and tell me, and I would give him advice, whatever come to my spirit, and so God, I'm saying all of this to say, people of God, if you keep believing, God will put the right people on your path when you least expect it. Sometimes that can be people observing you and you don't even know it. And they want to connect with you, but they got to wait till they're led or wait till the right moment. And they feel led to help you in some kind of way. Or they want to just tell you something that could help you think in a different way that could benefit you, or they just feel led to share something with you. So listen, even sometimes when you may not agree with the way that some people are doing things, it takes nothing from us to listen, and believe in yourself. Never stop believing in yourself. We can do all things. We truly can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I'm telling you, if my little old self can get out here and take a transmission out of a Ram 3500, never been to nobody diesel mechanic school, but has become a diesel mechanic just off of self-training, reading books, and listening to folk who have taught me things, who have been there and done that, and applying it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm telling you now, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's nothing for me to get a diesel mechanic certification. You know how I know? Without going to anybody's school. That's God. Because I went and I took the test. I went and took the test without any training, without any, other than what I had here and what I had learned, because I've been working on my stuff for the last several years. And if I remember correctly, I think you needed a 37, or I can't remember the score, but whatever you needed, I think it's like a 30 something. Whatever I needed to pass, I missed it by 3 points. And that was me never having any form of training. And so that tells me all I have to do is study, get the right study materials, go back and take the test. And if I want it, I can go back and get the certification without going through a process that many people had gone through, And so there's so many other ideas that come to my mind. And I don't ask people's opinion anymore when it comes to what I want to do. Like, because I already know what certain people say. Oh, you sure you want to do that? A woman shouldn't be doing that. People always look at your gender sometimes and say you shouldn't be doing that. And sometimes when you go forward with what you believe in, you will even have some friends. And it's so sad. Sometimes some women can be so bitter towards other women because you don't look like them, because you don't like the same things they like, because you don't move how they move. Sometimes you will have women that'll sit back and they'll watch other women. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Not all sisters. You can have some sisters who are just loving and who are just comfortable in their own lane. They can compliment you. But then you got some women who are just bitter on the inside. They put so much into their beautifying their outer self, which is nothing wrong with that. Is nothing wrong with it at all. But I'm talking about the ones who glorify themselves so much outwardly that inwardly they are just so rotten on the inside. And they look down on other people based on material things and physical appearance. They're not truly happy. I can't be around a group of women like that. They'll sit back and talk about you. Oh, you getting your hands so dirty. Oh, you doing all this stuff like a man, And then when they need something done, they have to go sleep with a man, or they have to go, that's so high, They look like they look like what they want, but they ain't really got it. Not all, And then you get men too. When you're a strong woman, sometimes you get some brothers. They be so intimidated by you they can't do what you do, they start trying to criticize you. Oh, why you got to do it like that? Why are you working so hard? And then when you take a look at them, you see they don't do nothing. They lazy. They don't have a lot of skills. They crafty, and they secretly compete with you. They just try to pick you apart, and so you got to be thick-skinned. And what I'm trying to say, you have a right to live in this earth, and you have a right to pursue all of the desires of your heart, and God will bless you. But you must believe in yourself and walk by faith, and it takes thick skin. Whatever you want to do, believe in that you can do that thing. Even when you get nervous sometimes, you can challenge it. You can tackle that problem. But you got to believe in yourself, and you can't look for everybody to validate you. You got to keep on going. Even when there's nobody behind you saying, go, baby, you can do it. Even when they're family that's supposed to be protecting you and cheering you on. Even when they see you climbing, you can be climbing, getting bruised up. People can be throwing stones at your back as you climbing. And that family that's supposed to be sheltering you, sometimes they might do this. They might turn their head. They see you, they do like this. They act like they don't see you. You got to keep on going. Do you want it? How bad do you want it? What you climbing for? See, me, I just wanted to fulfill and obtain the desires of my heart. Now I got new desires coming in. I ain't sharing them with nobody until I accomplish those things. Because you got people that try to steal your creativity. You got people that try to block you, But anything you put your mind to, you can do it. And thank God. It's only God. Thank God. You're going to have some challenges along the way when you accomplishing them things. I had many challenges. You're going to have a lot of temptations. You're going to have a lot of wrong come. And so you can get off the right path. I fell off the right path many times. I fell into error while I'm on my journey, accomplishing these things, working towards my dreams and desires. And sometimes you're just ignorant. You try certain things, and then you realize, oh, I shouldn't have done this. You get entangled sometimes. You got to get unentangled. It's all a part of the process. When you got that Ruach Sadeka, that spirit of righteousness, and you spending time in the Word of God, it's going to keep pulling you out of every wrong thing. You're going to keep growing. You're going to keep maturing. You're going to put away the lustful desires of the flesh. You're going to keep going. You got to fight through all of that. But know you can do anything that you put your mind to. Believe in yourself and walk by faith. That's all I want to say. I just want to encourage you. Believe in yourself. And don't ever, like I always say, don't ever fall into the trap of comparing yourself to your brothers and sisters. You can, when you come in contact with certain brothers and sisters, some of them, they can be very encouraging, and you show that appreciation back by being reciprocating, but don't ever try to compete and compare, because that'll lead you down to, that'll lead you to a place of misery. And the reason I can say that is because there are a lot of people over the course of my life. There are people who sometimes you don't really know them like that. They'll start watching you and secretly competing against you. And you don't really know that that's what they're doing, because sometimes it'll catch you off guard, because it'll look like, why this person who got more than me, it appears that they have more than me. I feel like they taking digs at me. I feel like they doing, trying to break my spirit. Why they paying attention to what I got going on? Sometimes, unbeknownst to you, sometimes it can appear that people have more than you, but there's something on the inside of you sometimes that people can see you have and they don't have. So maybe they look on from the material standpoint, it look like they have more than you, or it looks like they're doing something better than you, but they see something inside of you that they missed or they lacked, or it was a step that you're stepping over that they actually jumped over. They skipped steps when you're actually taking your time walking step by step. And sometimes people want to, break your confidence down, because if you keep growing, unbeknownst to you, something about you is shining a light on something that makes them feel insecure. And so that's why sometimes you'll have people who don't even know you secretly competing against you, or trying to pick you apart and find things that's wrong with you because you're intimidating to them. And they're not going to tell you. It's just you being you. And that's something that you got to be okay with people who don't know you not liking you. Be okay with people saying things about you that are not true. if you really want success, and there's so many people that have different opinions on what success looks like. You are, how can I say it? You define what success looks like for yourself, because it's only you that knows what you truly desire and what you're working towards. It's you that know what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable. You can be someone who has just living a simple life, and you just want to be in a place where you have great health, and you just, you don't need anybody for nothing. That can make you happy. There are some people, they're not happy until they have millions and millions and millions of dollars it filled up in their bank account. They want to be sitting on millions and millions of dollars, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's their desires. If they're not hurting nobody to get that, if they're not stepping on nobody, then there's some people, they're feeling like, if I make about 3 or 4 million a year, $200,000 a month, and have all my bills paid off, if I get in that position, that's enough for me. I don't need much. Then there's some people will come and say, well, that's something wrong with you if you want to be in that position. Everybody has their own desires. What do you want? What is on the inside of your spirit? Explore your mind. What do you like? Go for your dreams, your goals. What will make you happy while you're in this earth for the remainder of your time? Some people will come and try to sell you a dream, telling you what you should be doing, telling you what you should look like, telling you how you should feel, telling you how you should think. What do you think? What do you want? Your thoughts matter, and your thoughts for you are greater than the thoughts of anybody else. And don't you know there are some people that will be upset with you because you don't care what they think about you? You don't care how they feel because they don't. People who don't have no love for you. It would be different if somebody had love for you and they're actually wanting to connect with you, and they just like your whole spirit, and they want to help you grow, and they want to share with you. But when somebody doesn't like you, they're always going to try to beat your spirit down. They're always going to come and try to assassinate your character or pick you apart and find something wrong with you. Or when somebody is intimidated by you, they're going to tell you what you can't be doing. Like I met this guy the other day. He tried to talk to me. It's like they're coming out of, there's this period of time where some people just come out of the woodwork, and you can tell they're distractions by the enemy. A lot of the things I can do, he can't do, but he's a business owner. I mean, I applaud him, but he's wants to get closer to me, but he's always telling me, oh, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. And because his words, he's cursing me with his word. I always feel drained talking to him. And it's never an argument. He smiles, we talk, but I feel drained because he's always trying to curse me with his words because he feels intimidated. He wants to bring my confidence down a notch, bring me down a notch so that he could just lead and I can just follow his lead, but he's not going anywhere. He's not doing anything else. His life is pretty much, he's lived his life and there's nothing else on the inside of him. So he won't, anytime I try to say, well, I think you should read this book and what do you think about this? Like sometimes I'll say, what do you think about this? He shoots everything out. So I'm not looking for anybody to cage my mind, cage my potential, cage the remainder of my desires and goals and dreams that I have on the inside of me. And so I feel at peace mostly when I'm alone. And if there is someone that needs to connect with me, I will know that because there will be harmony. There will be, confirmation within my spirit, And so sometimes people, when they're intimidated by a lot of your strength, they'll say, you can't keep doing that or you can't do this. And it's like, oh, okay, well, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't, it started all of that. It's like, why are you trying to break me down because you can't do those things? And the things I do, I need to get them done. I don't need distractions. I don't need laziness. I don't need envy. I don't want to invite that into my life. I don't need nobody trying to make me second guess myself. If you're not complimenting and helping to nurture my mind and my soul, then you don't need to be connected to me. And I don't care what you think, respectfully, right? And so anyway, I just want to share that, people of God. Be encouraged. Believe in yourself. Walk by faith. Trust God. You can do anything you put your mind to. Think for yourself. What do you desire? Build your dreams and your goals. Don't let nobody trick you into helping them build their dreams and their goals. People who God has hands on and he's blessed us, God blesses people to be independent, to be prosperous, to obtain and to achieve things on your own, right? And so don't let nobody trick you and think for you and capture, like cage your mind. Think for yourself. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. You know what you want to achieve. What may work for somebody else, that may not work for you. What somebody else has done to shoot themselves up or put themselves in a position to make income, they may try to tell you, oh, I can help you get there. Just pay me this right here and I'll get you there. You know, how you know that's going to work for you? Is your personality the same? You know, are they very honest? Are they teaching you to be honest and not to covet, not to steal? Are they teaching you to think authentically? What worked for them, will that work for you? Do you have those same desires? What is on the inside of you? And so that's why I want you to be encouraged. Think for yourself and understand you can do anything you put your mind to. Walk by faith. Include God in everything and never give up. The opposition is going to come. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have people that don't believe in what you're doing. You're going to have some people that the more you walk with God, God going to make you stronger. He going to make you wiser. And you're going to have some people that's intimidated by that. Then you're going to have some people that want you to come and connect with them, but they want to think for you. They don't want to show you no respect either. They're going to be people, they see the anointing on your life, and they're going to try to ignore you, or they'll try to talk down to you or break your spirit. They don't want to respect you. There are a lot of prideful, arrogant people. Stay away from them kind, right? But keep walking by faith. You can do anything you put your mind to, and appreciate God. Thank God for protecting you. Thank God for what he's done in your life. Thank God for giving you wisdom, for giving you health and strength. Thank God for keeping your mind sound even when the enemy tried to raise up against you. You know, keep God in everything. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, I can tell you honestly, I don't know where I would be. It's all because of God. God keeps me. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I be? Where would I be? And don't let money change you. See, the love of money is the root of all evil. Because people love money so much, they will lie, they will steal, they will cheat, they will rob, they will hurt their own brothers and sisters, right? We can't take nothing in this life with us to the next life. We can only enjoy what we have here, right? So just be cognizant of that and believe in yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to. Stay away from people who are just who want to break your spirit. Stay away from people who come at you full of delusions. Stay away from people who steal from you and never acknowledge you, because sometimes they'll try to reach into your life when they see you keep growing to reaching a certain level. They'll try to come to you with kindness. Once God show you people true nature, don't let certain people reach into you. You don't have to be mad with nobody. You can pray. You can have, cordial relationship, high and by in your passing and stuff. But don't let people get too close to you. Unless they're confirmed in your spirit by God. Test your friendships and stuff. Believe not every spirit, but try the spirit. Many false prophets have gone out into the world. Just because somebody say, God say, and God tell me this, and God gonna do that, somebody can talk with a lot of momentum and all of that. But at the end of the day, you take that back to God, right? You take it back to God. And don't believe every spirit. And remember, your thoughts are greater for you than the thoughts of anybody else. People will tell you what you should be doing all day long, and they'll never give you a hand to do it. They only want to take from you or try to sell you something, and not saying that everybody sell you something is bad, because there's some people that are qualified to do what they're doing, right? They're qualified. They have the qualifications and they can help you. But then there are a lot of people that will just try to capitalize off you because they're trying to build themselves up for selfish gains. So anyway, believe in yourself and walk by faith. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just never give up. keep going.